Alrighty, so let's look at the exercises here for 19. On the parsings, are there any questions that you have about these particular forms? Okay, so you're wanting to look at number 5 here? Okay, perusitai. Say that with me. Perusitai. Perusitai. Alrighty. What I'd like you to do is to try to, in your parsing, try to find those things that are the most obvious on the outside of the verb and bracket those out and identify what they are to just start getting your parsing under control. So, do you see the ending here on perusitai? What does that tie ending tell you?
Third singular.
Okay, the tie is telling you third singular. And the next thing you need to know is this the primary active or primary middle passive kind of ending? Yeah, tie is third singular in a primary middle passive, right? So we'll just put MP for now to know that that's third singular and middle passive. And everything's indicative right now, isn't it? Okay. I have two choices here. Present or future. Is there anything else here that will help me to know whether it's present or future? Yeah, that sigma, right? If I bracket out that sigma, the sigma is followed by the connecting vowel, followed by the personal ending. That commits me to the future. All right, good. Now, here's what I need to ask myself about the middle passive idea. Is this verb form middle only in the future? Yes, it is. It is. If you were to look at the principal parts for this verb, you'd have peruamai for the first form and perusamai for the second form in your principal parts, right? So this is middle only. And one thing that I'm pretty sure we talked about, but the future middle is always distinct from the future passive. We're going to learn the future passive in chapter 24. It uses a different stem than the future active and future middle do. So in the present tense, the middle and the passives are indistinguishable. They look the same. In the future, the middle and the passive are distinguishable. So if it's middle, it's not passive in the future. Okay, and you won't learn any future passives until later. Okay, so what's the lexical form? It's peruamai, right? Peruamai. So remember, the lexical form is always which tense? Present, active, indicative, first singular. And peruamai, you're always looking for an omega ending because it's supposed to be active in that first column, that first principal part. But this has got a mai ending. So in the present, it's certainly a middle only, or as Mounce calls it, a deponent verb. And then how would we translate perusitai? That's right. He, she, it will go. Okay. All right. Does that make sense? Okay. Again, I'll just put in parentheses. Mounce would refer to this as a future deponent, or maybe a future middle deponent. Indicative. All right. So that's number 5. What other ones can we look at? Okay, number 7 is hexate. Say that with me. Hexate. Hexate. Looking at hexate in number 7, I'm sorry, not hexate, but hexate, what is it on the end that can give you some obvious parsing information? Yeah, that te ending. Epsilon is the connecting vowel, and then the te is which person and number? Second plural. And, oops, I'm putting that in the wrong place, right? Second plural here. All right. Now, what is the voice of that te ending? Is that a primary active or a primary middle passive second plural? That is active. Okay, so we can go ahead and put active here. All right, and indicative. Is this the present or the future? Okay, this is future. The lexical form is echo, right? We just saw this in the vocabulary list. What do we have here? We have a xi, don't we? We've got a xi here. Where did that xi come from? That's right. There is a he and a sigma tense formative that have joined together to produce that xi. So that should tell you that even though you don't really see an actual sigma, you're hearing the sigma of the tense formative, aren't you? So this is a future active indicative, second person plural. And how would we translate this? So you will have. Very good. So now let's talk about what happened with this form, because it does seem a little bit naughty, doesn't it? And after we talk about this, you'll really think it's naughty. What is the real verbal root that echo and exo come from? It's time to talk about the birds and the bees. The real root is this. How do we pronounce that? It's sech. Sech. It looks like something else, doesn't it? Well, we need to have a conversation. You guys are old enough now to have this talk. This is the real root of the verb for to have in Greek. But there's something that happens in Greek quite frequently, and that is words that begin with an initial sigma. The initial sigma often drops out and is replaced with a rough breathing. So this becomes hech. And then there's another problem. In Greek, having the aspiration of the rough breathing ha followed by the chi is just too much ha ha ha. So in those contiguous sounds, the Greek decided to de-aspirate the rough breathing, or to dissimilate. So this becomes as long as the chi is there. And so the present stem ends up looking like that with the smooth breathing, echo, echo. But when I add the sigma to echo, so what do I get here? I get the xi, right? And when the xi happens, do I have that ch sound anymore? I don't. So that rough breathing that was supposed to be there gets to come back. So that's how we get hexo. Hexo. Okay, it really should have been sexo. But the sigma has become the rough breathing, dropped off, became a rough breathing. Okay? I'm glad we had this talk. Yes. So echo, present, hexo, future. Okay? All right. Any other parsing questions? Okay, number 9. This is really tricky of Mounce. This is not even a verb, is it? What is this from? Yep. Ha, los, and you should always be thinking of all three endings when you have an adjective. Halos, hale, halan. Is that what we have here? You see that omicron nu? That's the neuter form, right? Okay. So what do we have here? We have the hala part, but we've got the us case ending. Who remembers which case gender number this is. And what declension pattern is it following? Yep. So, yeah, the declension pattern is the second declension, right? Because of the omicron stem. And the us in the second declension is always accusative, plural, and masculine, right? Okay, so there you go. What does it mean? Yeah, whole. So, without any context, without having any nouns here for it to modify, there's really not a whole lot more you can say besides that. If we were modifying an accusative noun, like he ate whole planets, you would still translate whole that way, no matter whether it's nominative or accusative case. So whole or complete are ways to translate that. Mounce put holes? Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. Well, if it's used, remember, adjectives can function as a noun. So you could also say, he ate 3 holes, right? And that would mean he ate 3 whole things, whatever they are. So, not impossible. Right? Divide this into halves, or how many holes do you have? Okay, so does that help? All right, very good. Other questions? All right, let's look at the warm-ups. Which one of those?
I just had a question on the carpools, gamma.
So gamma?
I translated my fruits, plural, but he has a singular.
Mm-hmm.
Mouse has a singular.
Yeah.
But is that plural or singular?
Well, the form is plural in Greek. So you could translate this as fruits. So I gather my fruits. But in English, generally, when you're thinking about a mass of fruit, English tends to use a singular for that collective mass. So here's a truckload of fruit, singular, even though we're looking at, lots of pieces of fruit. So it just sounds better in English that way. Now, when would we pluralize fruit in English? Yeah, if there's multiple types of fruit, then we might say fruits. Eat your fruits and vegetables. What does that mean? Eat all kinds of fruits, right? And all kinds of vegetables. Yeah. So, good for you to notice that. By the way, xun oxo, what tense is that? That's a future. What's the lexical form? Soon ago. Soon ago. Do you see how the gamma and the future tense formative produce xi? Yes? So I will gather. I shall gather. Okay. What else? Ada. Let's look at Ada. So accusatis. Say that with me. Accusatis. Tain phonein autu. Okay. So accuse, what tense is that? Can you tell? Future. How do you know that? There's that sigma, right? The present active indicative would just be accu-a without the sigma. So that sigma's the dead giveaway here. How would you translate accuse just all by itself? He, she, it, will hear. Now look at the tis here. Which tis is this? Okay, yeah. Notice that you only have a period at the end here, don't you? So that's one clue. This is not the interrogative tis. The other clue is what? Exactly. Accented tis is interrogative. Who? Which? Unaccented is the indefinite tis. Someone, anyone, a certain one. So over here, what is tis's function in this clause? Which form of tis is this? Is it nominative, genitive, dative, accusative? This is nominative. It matches the lexical form tis, doesn't it? Remember, the forms are tis and t, right? So the first form, because there's only two forms here, the first form is masculine or feminine. Second form is neuter. Okay? So, how are we going to translate this? Someone, anyone will hear. What will they hear? Well, look at the case here. Is that the kind of case you'd expect a direct object to be in? Yep. So someone will hear what? The voice. And then what case is autu? Genitive. So whose voice? Yeah, of him, his voice. So someone will hear his voice. Or anyone will hear his voice. And we have absolutely no context for this. So it doesn't really sound all that, clear to us what's going on. So, how do you know which one's better? A certain one, someone, anyone? Well, you don't. You don't without more context. But if you were translating a Bible passage and putting this into English, it would probably be pretty clear which value of tis to use at that point. Okay. Any other warm-up exercises?
Epsilon.
Okay, so epsilon, we have sun emoi perusantai. Say that with me. Sun emoi perusantai. So what's sun emoi mean? With me. Perusantai. What's the obvious personal ending here? Oh, he said it. Tai. Yes, I love it. Tai. What's the person and number there? Third plural. So with me, they will go. Or, now, if we don't want to sound like Yoda, how might we say this in English? They will go with me. With me, they will go. They will go with me. All right. Good. Any others here?